Hey, long time no see. This guy, this is the body of the Lazarus, and what I'm going to attempt to do is to re-glue these braces down. I say attempt for a couple of reasons. First of all, this brace is cracked, and initially I wanted to replace all three of these braces. This one I'm especially not sure about because when this cracked, because this is just plywood, it's not a solid piece of tone wood, it has pulled the top ply up, and that has me a little bit concerned. I'm afraid that what's going to happen is if I attempt to pull the rest of this brace out of here, this is just going to get totally destroyed. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm just going to try to repair it in situ, if I used fancy language. But I'm not going to. I'm going to try to replace it, or not replace it, but I'm going to attempt to repair it where it is. So we're going to leave that one sit for a minute. This one I'm working on, this one was loose about this far. You see my hand? Yeah. I'm loose about this far on this one. And so what I'm doing is, this is really solid all the way up to about right here. So what I'm doing is I'm going through, this is lifted up with just a piece of scrap plywood, and I'm cleaning up all the little bits of wood, the little bits of glue, trying to get this so it will be as clean as it can be, and then we're going to glue that back down. And that brings with it a problem, because this guitar has a dished back, and I don't have a hollow form to go on it because they're like $100. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to figure out what the height is so that I can make a spacer around the edge of this guitar, so that when I press this back down, it will allow the bottom to bowl out. That's what's coming up. But first, let's get the I'm going to get the glue off of these, and I'm just using chisels, just trying to get that glue pulled off of there as best I can, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom of this soundboard, get as much of the glue off of that as I can, and then very gingerly I'm going to run some sandpaper underneath here and try to get that joint as clean as I can. It's not going to be perfect, but we're gonna try to get that so that it's down as solid as we can get it. Alright, I've got most of the glue cleaned off the bottom edge here. I've got most of it scraped up off of here, but what I want to do is I want to clean that joint in between the bottom of the brace and this part of the backboard. So what I've done is I've taken my handy Wilton frosting spreader, sprayed some spray adhesive on it, and then I've just put, this is just 180 sandpaper, and I've just put it on there and then trimmed it down. So now I can put it in that little joint there, and I have a flat little, like a sanding block, that I can get in there and try to get any, as my British friends would say, detritus out of there. This is a difficult spot to work in just because it's so shallow. I'm having to use these little tiny, they're not for, it's not like a chisel, it's a sculpture dealio thingy. You can see all that stuff that I'm kind of pushing out. Again, this is a plied board back. This is not a solid piece of tone wood. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Most people that I know would have looked at this and just run the other way screaming. But I don't know enough to not do that. So and that, there we go. And with this, it's really easy to feel where there's like a little glue blob just kind of hanging out there. And then I can take my wedge out, and if I kind of push this down, first of all, it's a lovely noise, don't you think? But now I can sand the bottom of that. It also helps to pull out some areas where the glue it's pulling it off the bottom of there where it kind of got in that joint. So yeah, and that's what's going on. And then I do need to put this here so that I can push down on this to get it to contact. The Wilton frosting spreader. I'm telling you, if your loved one or someone in your life is not into cake frosting and decorating, get them involved. If for no other reason, you can steal their tools. All right, check back. All right. It seems like every step of the way with this guitar is, if it ain't one thing, it's another. What's our next one thing? Our next one thing is right here. How can I get you to see that? Can I get you to see that? Let's try that. Right here. I have two sections of kerfing missing. Now the joint is, it's not expanded out. I can't see light through anything. I can't see it cracked or anything like that. But I'm going to err on the side of caution. So here is a piece of the original kerfing that came out of it, this little teeny tiny piece, and this is kind of what we do today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to cut this down on the bandsaw so that it matches the height. so that I can go in and we can put this back in there, stabilize that joint before we put any more stress on it. I think this is pretty darn clean all the way through here, so I think that's good. And then when I get that done, I'll have one brace, solid brace on the back. This one is cracked and it looks like it's lifting a little bit here. This one's obviously lifted. This one's a little bit on the end there as well. So let's try to go get this cut down and get this repaired so that then we can move on. Of course, I have picked the most clunky of clamps, just because that's currently what I have. And this is wrong. Alright, I gotta tell you, I'm a little bummed. That nice big tube of LMI glue was gross. It was just like one big sticky mess. So I don't know what the deal was. I actually kept that one inside to make sure that it didn't get too hot. I don't know, maybe it did. So anyways, nothing wrong with tight bond. Like I said, I got the clunkiest clamps on the planet for this. But they'll get the job done. I'm perplexed by that glue. It irritates me, because I haven't used like any of that glue. Alright, so there we are, done for the day. And then it's going to be more joint cleaning, stuff like that. So the guitar that spawned a YouTube career, the Prairie 12 string Lazarus.